Hey guys, it's Papa Nasty here, and today I'm doing a video about The Lord of the Rings Rise to War. This will be my 2.0 season start guide. So the first thing is plan which commanders and equipment you'll use before the season starts. Don't be mucking around in your inventory during that first 24 hours. Instead, you want to do that before the season starts. Next, only build the buildings you need. Right? There might be some buildings that are great, they have long-term benefits and that's all good and whatnot, but they also cost resources. Resources are very important in that first 24 hours, so instead of burning it on a building that only gives long-term benefits, focus on those short-term benefits instead, and you can build the long-term benefits tomorrow or the next day or whatever. Next, you never want to have full ability points or full stamina. Because if you have full ability points or full stamina, that means that you are not replenishing stamina. You are not replenishing ability points. And that means you're being inefficient because you are not utilizing that replenishment ability. With your commanders, you'll initially start with just 2 formations. You won't get a 4th formation until Barracks level 10, which is main hall 6. So save stamina on your best commanders until you get your 3rd or 4th formations. So when you get that 3rd or 4th formation, that's when you're going to be able to hammer out some higher level tiles because it's such a big power jump to go from just 2 formations to 3, or from 3 to 4. To help you with this, use multiple commanders to spread the load of your stamina usage. In particular, use support commanders to assist your direct damage commanders. So I know most evil players have their DD commanders, their shadows, Lurts, and Skullhelm and whatnot. Those are your favourite commanders, and you've given them all your best gear and and their really high reputation, blah blah blah. You want to use some support commanders with them to assist them, so that way you can spread the load. So you might have Shadow and Gorebag when you take your first set of tiles or something like that. With your equipment no longer needs familiarity, so you can use your best equipment and swap it between commanders without penalty. You want to aim to have 40 more attack than what the enemy has defense. And you want to aim to have 40 more defense than what the enemy has attack. So this means you need a sort of balanced setup. Right now, you're only fighting against tiles, so this might be different to how you would itemize when you go into PvP. But against tiles, you want to have a balanced setup with plus attack and plus defense on all of your units. To give you a sort of little bit of an example, level 90 tiles have a maximum of about 40 attack and 40 defense. So this means that you want to have around 80 attack and 80 defense on your units in order to maximize your buffs, because after you have more than 40, there is a hard cap, and so you will not increase your damage or your damage mitigation if you have more than 40 above their stats. With your troops, attack and defense can be obtained from equipment, but hit points and damage cannot be obtained from equipment. So this is how you want to be sort of selecting which troops to use. Obviously there's abilities too, and abilities are very important. But if just looking at your stats, your high hit points or high damage, those are the stats you cannot get from your equipment. These are the stats that your attack will add a percentage modifier to your damage. Right? Your defense will do a percentage modifier to the enemy's damage and thus change how many hit points you lose. If your base values are high, you get more value from your attack stats and your defense stats. If your hit points and your damage are low, then you get less value. With this in mind, if you find the troops that fit you well, you don't need to build every single troop training building, right? So for me, I'm starting as Isengard. I will probably only use troops from Isengard when I first start. Now, if you started as Angmar or Gundabad, you'd probably need to build a tank building. You probably need to get sort of the Crusher chain building or something like that as well, because the Gundabad only sort of starts with DPS units. You know, they all have low hit points. But if you are Gundabad, if you are Isengard or Mordor, then you can just stick with only the buildings from your own faction, and save resources in that first 24 hours. With your efficient stamina usage, in 2.0 you don't get discounted stamina in the first 24 hours. So you need to be extra efficient compared to your 24-hour starts in the past. So make sure your commanders never have full stamina, and spread the load, right? So yeah, so use your weaker commanders to take the low-level tiles. Conserve the stamina on your better commanders until you can unlock that third or fourth formation, and start smashing out higher level tiles. Weaker commanders take weaker tiles. Stronger commanders take stronger tiles. Your Ringpoint allocation. Initially, only put points into extract and extra tiles. This is the same as prior to 2.0. When you get to level 10, get gather and increase your max ability points. And then at ring level 30, the skills have moved around a little bit, but it's all sort of a similar thing anyway, because once you get to level 30, everybody's got a different opinion on whether plus experience or the sweeping talents are better, or different things, or whether you're best off just to keep putting points into increasing your resources instead. So yeah, everyone's got their own style past level 30, but for your initial ones, for up to level 29, extract, and then gather, and then you increase your max ability points, and then increase your resources. With your weaker commanders, your best equipment, so this is just a reminder from other points really, your best equipment can be temporarily swapped to make weaker commanders stronger. Right? Use your weaker commanders to upgrade your lowest tiles. Start dropping your lowest tiles when you are 10 to 20 tiles away from your maximum, and if you can't take or upgrade your lowest tiles without casualties, then sweep for extra food and speed ups. Right? Your main thing is you really want to avoid casualties, but you also want to make sure that you are constantly increasing the level of your minimum tiles. You don't want to finish your first 24 hours and have any tiles that are below level 60. If you still have level 10 or 10 or 15 tiles at the end of the first 24 hours, then you've done something. You haven't been very efficient with how you've utilized your things. Okay, next point, the commanders going solo. So this is something that's new to 2.0. So your commanders can potentially attack tiles with just one unit, right? So I'm not saying like one unit as in like 100 orcs. I mean one orc, right? So one orc each. Obviously, you still use multiple commanders because you can use your direct damage commanders to deal large amounts of damage to the enemy, and if they have equipment which gives them plus commander hit points, then they can actually take a few hits, especially if they have the Undying. If they have the Undying in their army, then that will give up to 3 formations a 90% chance to evade the first 4 hits. So that means that you can potentially evade those first 4 hits, and that just gives you more time to dish out more damage with your direct damage commanders, and you don't lose anything because you don't have any troops. Your your debuff for for when you can't do anything after you die is 90% faster in the first 24 hours, so just 1 minute instead of 10 minutes. So you can potentially hit a tile, die, then come back, hit it again, die, and keep sort of doing that if you really wanted, until the tile is weak enough for you to take it without losing too many of your real troops. Obviously this does cost stamina though, so bear that in mind, and that stamina on your best sort of commanders, on your direct damage commanders. So keep that in mind, but it can help to reduce your troop casualties significantly at the cost of stamina. So this is where being efficient with your stamina usage earlier, as you're sort of leveling up, when you first start the season, can really help you later on, because then you can take those, that 130 or 150 tile more easily, because you can just hammer it repeatedly with your direct damage commanders before you send in your troops. Here's an example of when I did this with one of my sets of commanders. Now this is with my baby alt, Grumpy Jeff, who I don't think any of these guys have more than two stars, and that's on purples. So this is a free to play alt. And he's gone through and reduced this 130 power tile down by about sort of a third or a quarter of its troops, and I was then able to then take that with minimal casualties using my second formation immediately afterwards. So that's just an example for you. Anyway, that's it from me. Thanks all for listening. I hope these tips are useful. Good luck in the season. And if you like the video, then like and subscribe. If you didn't, then don't. Thanks all. Catch you later.